Hello again, and welcome to part 3, where we continue in the Tomb of the Giants. Now, here's one person who I ended up encountering and I think this is the only one whose name I don't have. Because I believe so I invaded... kept screwing up Paris for one thing, but yes, I kept It didn't start recording until after I had invaded, and I missed the name as a result. So sorry about that, but So when using fisticuffs in the Tomb of the Giants, most of the time what I was trying to do wasn't, to seriously fight, it was to try and get them up in the head. Or killed in some awkward way, and I got really close there to getting him down there, but I missed, and that annoyed me. Yeah. And one thing with... is... I always end up underestimating... when I've actually got boys, I end up underestimating the actual strength of... my mind's not with me today. So I always end up... ultra great swords, I end up... underestimating how strong they actually are able to be, especially with... here's Cold Stare again from last time, who... this time tried kicking me off, and this one was actually quite a long encounter because, I missed that kick there, so they didn't go off the edge, but they had... I have to say one thing about this person, is they've got an awful lot of pyromancy casting. So I came down here deciding that, this would be an incredibly safe place to heal. So I was able to heal down there, and because they decided to try and fight me here, then again they've gone from Great Combustion to Black Flame, so that's... I wasn't too worried about that, because from my experience it barely does anything, so... he's got so many castings of everything. So I actually managed to get him down here, and then I decided, instead of staying up there and trying to pick him up if he came back up, I tried to go down and get him to stay down, but I missed, which was incredibly frustrating. So after that, came up here, tried to get him down again, and I rolled off the edge. So annoyingly, I wasn't able to get him to die in here. So when I invaded him again in here, this was just priceless, and that made up for it. And I think that's probably going to be the shortest fight I've had here. Well, had in the entire setup. So yes. So in these matches here, there is essentially a collection of fights where I was trying to fight Mayhem, and I encountered this person, and I thought, they're Dragon Bro. I was going to go for the backstab, but I decided against it, and I was going to cheer, but then they came at me with infinite flames, and so I wasn't too suspicious when they had great lightning spears, mainly because they're easy to dodge, but he had an infinite number of them as well. And there I forgot that I had the whip equipped. So I already knew I was going to die in this encounter, because, for those who don't know, Blight is level 14, is designed for Blight Town, and I've rarely been able to encounter anybody, except people who invade me, who are anywhere near that level, in the burg, because, you know, it's too high for the average person who's just passing through. And it's... yeah, I mean, I barely do any damage to anyone with my weapons. So... tried parrying his combustion. But yes, and you know, even when I don't encounter much higher level people who are more or less impervious to my attacks, I normally end up encountering hackers of some sort, or, you know, people like that. So yeah, here's one of the invaders who is obviously a very low level, you know, just literally throwing around pyromancy and expecting that to work. So yeah, you know, with their club, and they just... so yeah, essentially they came in straight away and just tried to get me with that firestorm, and yeah, didn't go too well for them. And here's one person I'm not sure whether I should be suspicious about or not, because I fought him twice, and, you know, because the difficult thing is, because I didn't kill him, I don't know how many souls he'd get, so I don't know what level he'd be. Annoyingly, I kept missing the backstab, so, because the spin from his R2s is just confusing me to where his back actually was. So, yeah. And, yeah, it was hard to tell because, from what I calculated, you know, to be at level 40, he'd, you know, and to be able to mid-roll with that gear, he'd need to have, yeah, he'd need to have more or less base vitality. However, that's not considering the fact that there's also the upper bracket from invasion, so he's probably in the upper bracket, I'd say. But yeah, so then sorry, fought him again, but this time he was ninja flipping, and however he did take his test piece off, so and his gauntlets, so he definitely, yeah, and I actually was dealing damage because the Black Iron set does give quite a fair bit of fire resistance. In fact, when I was fighting Gwyn on my flank shield run, I ended up having yeah, I can't remember. I was trying to parry that, but yes. So after this one, I think I actually managed to get Mayhem at last, and at the time he was working on recording his what was the name of that video? Great. And of course, I don't know why, but for some reason, every time, yeah, it almost killed me, but wasn't quite good enough. So, however, yeah, Graham then got me afterwards. But... so he was trying to record that video. However, I did manage to foil those plans before he killed me. So at least that's some sort of plus. Okay, and now, of course, I've got a bunch more arena matches. However, this time it's with Happy, and this is the build that I mentioned. And actually, the start was hilarious because we both came out so fast to attack each other that we still had the invincibility on from dropping out. So yeah, so this is the build I was mentioning, I think, in the first one. That's designed specifically for the arena. I still need to work on my toggle escapes, but Happy doesn't like fighting it too much because it completely counteracts his build with the Great Magic Barrier you know, preventing him from dealing any damage to me with his array of spells, which leaves him with just his weapon. And whilst Happy is definitely very... Some have deflected that with Wrath of the Gods. I mean, I know it's possible, but it's just like, yeah, from what I saw, it had already hit me before the casting had actually happened. So yeah, this build is, yeah, it's not particularly fun to fight against. It's not particularly fun to play with. After, yeah, I mean, it's obviously, it's designed to win so much that it's actually, that, you know, it's actually painful to fight against, because, you know, if you've got magic, that's not going to work. If you're ninja flipping, I can, you know, pull out a friendly walking piece and, you know, just keep you walking. And then, you know, even without that, the weapons I've got can do quite a bit of damage, and in fact, because when we're fighting against Mayhem, there's, you know, a period where, you know, they managed to win a match. I think they won 2 matches in the end, of the ones we fought. I think they may have got a few ties, but I can't remember exactly. Yeah, me just getting stun locked completely to death there. So, yes, but, essentially just by switching from buffing the halberd to buffing the, bandit's knife can make quite a bit of difference depending on the situation, because the halberd obviously has range, and it has, you know, a very high damage output. However, at the same time, the bandit's knife has a lot of speed, and when combined with the buff, it can rack out damage very quickly. Yeah, and that was a lag hit as opposed to reflecting at that time, so yes, but yeah, what makes this build, because obviously these two builds that are actually fighting against each other are designed to be allies, and they work well as allies as well, and what makes it awkward to fight against is obviously the fact that between rounds there's Bountiful Sunlight, which, you know, almost fully heals me, and I believe it does about half health to my ally. Then, you know, Great Magic Barrier prevents magic from being too much of a problem, which I believe only leaves, you know, the Pyromancies as dangerous. I could have, in fact, it probably would have been, you know, the only thing that would have, oh yeah, I think it's got like 56 points exactly. And yeah, the Emit Force is probably, yeah, it's definitely more of a thing that's effective in the team arena as opposed to the, yeah, as opposed to one-on-one, because in one-on-one, getting a hit with it against people who know what they're doing is pretty hard. However, against people when there's 2 of you, in a lot of cases we were able to yeah, I took too long on the buff, and that's what happened. Yeah. That is the one thing, is if you take too long with the buffs or get the buff timing at the wrong time, someone can completely destroy you like that. But yeah, where was I? Ah yeah, so when you're in the team arena, as opposed to, yeah, I mean, that's all the damage I took from direct hits from everything. I keep losing my thought. But yeah, ah yes, in the team arena, Emit Force is able to, you know, get the effect of a Wrath of the Gods at range. So, you know, when somebody starts casting Firestorm or you know, somebody or one person's engaged with your ally and they've not seen you yet, you just start casting a emit force, and you're able to get them quite effectively. But you know, that it's also got more castings than WoG and more range than WoG. So, and you know, whilst some people would probably prefer having 6 castings of Wrath of the Gods, I'd rather have. Yeah, I cancelled out of Tranquil Water Beast somehow, so I didn't get off any buff at that point. So, but yes, I prefer having 6 castings of Emit Force on top of the 3 from Wrath of the Gods. So. There's still another 2 duels there, so I think this is like the only one I've managed to tie in, because, you know, Happy is, in most cases, better than me in, you know, in PvP. There's only been a few I mean, it's like, me beating Happy, yeah, it keeps changing, you know, because there's some times where I'm able to draw, you know, bring him into a lot of draws. This one, I think this one's only got flickering at the start and then stabilizes, but so yes, Happy normally beats me in a lot of cases. There's a few, you know, times where I'm able to get, you know, I'm on a good day and I'm able to beat him or bring him down to, you know, at least, you know, tie with him on a lot of instances. But for the most part, he's able to beat me hands down, and this is the only build where I'm able to successfully and effectively beat him in, you know, 9 out of 10 matches. Although that being said, we've only had arena matches. Although that also being said, most of the time I do get the first kill anyway. So, and then he'll just sort of, just by being able to heal makes it, you know, it's ridiculously effective in the arena, and yet, yeah, so, it's, in fact, I have to say, I think this build is too effective at what it does for me to actually enjoy playing it against random people, because it's, you know, it is a very tryhard build, to say the least. I mean, for crying out loud, it's, you know, it stops all magic attacks with Great Magic Barrier. It's got, you know, a dagger which when buffed with Sunlight Blade can do tremendous amounts of damage. It heals in the arena, giving me the advantage of, you know, every single fight. You know, I'm down castings, but apart from that, it's still me against them. Unfortunately, I'm still not good enough at toggle escapes to be able to stop it when that happens. Because especially with Murakumos and well, curved greatswords in general, I've just not got the timing down on. They're definitely the things I need to work on most, and that buff managed to get in just on time there. And to think that, you know, that attack normally, you know, if I recall what Frog said from when I was fighting him with my own magic build, he said that, you know, the Soul Spear, you know, did on average, did on average between a third and all of his health, depending on instability frames and such. So that was interesting. Meant to end on a draw with the final kill there. So yes, and now there's one more match here, and then after this, I believe it goes on to a load of matches with Clown. Clown's going to be happy about that. So yeah, the sunlight. Yeah, the other thing with this is actually the dagger ended up being more effective against Mayhem during some of the matches because, for the most part, Mayhem will almost always be ninja flipping with no poise. So if you're able to get that hit in, you're able to stun lock him to death. But yeah. But nah, once again, as I said, this build I try to keep out of most formal situations. Yeah. Although that also being said, the build can still be quite effective without most of the stuff, and you know, with a little bit of you know, just by removing Swap and Sunlight Blade, it's still quite viable. But I don't know. You know, it was made for a tournament. It was designed to win. That's all. That's the last thing I've got to say about that. It's more or less explains the entire thing. Likewise, Happy's build is designed for it, and I'd say that the only thing, yeah, because they're both level 200 builds, and as are all of the builds in the tournament as well. They're, you know, at least near 200. But the yeah, I forgot my magic barrier ran out at that point, so arena matches are fun, but they're just so hard to commentate over after when you're fighting the same person with the same build time and time again. So, you know, just some despicable wog spamming there. Yeah, just by being able to heal, you've already got major advantage there. It's insane. Because it then ends up not being a matter of, you know, because your opponent could knock you down to that last inch of health before killing you, but you could still defeat them and then just heal up, and most of their work is gone. So yeah. So that's enough of this build, which then goes on to the other build. One build which Frog in particular does not like, because, as you can see, it's a giant dad. However, as Frog will say, it's an imposter legend because he's ninja flipping, which, to a degree, I disagree with because of the fact that the, yeah, and this is against Clown, who rearranged. Essentially, I chose to fight him with this build because it was in Anor Londo at the time. So, tried dead angling and failed miserably. And that was round 1. But yeah, so Frog doesn't like it much because it's flipping, and he says that flipping legends were fake legends, despite the fact that in the opening of, you know, the He's Back video by Only Afro, yeah, in the opening video by Only Afro, it does say that we remember the flipping, you know, flipping mums and dads of, you know, pre-patch, and, you know, so it was intentionally a, you know, a flipping giant that was being replicated, except to get it under level 99 and have a reasonable amount of HP, you need to have both the Ring of Favor and Protection and such. So yeah, and yeah, this was the Noah there. Yeah, he's a hacker, and I found out after, you know, after this, well, during this, that the one bleed weapon I have is a Flamberge, which I got as I was going through Sens. A bleed weapon which he cannot even use, so I had absolutely nothing I could do with that. So in the end, because we weren't able to effectively bleed out the hacker, he ended up killing us. However, especially considering the fact that we kept accidentally hitting each other. However, we did get to have some fun for a good 5 minutes of flipping around, backstabbing him, sending him flying, and at least we didn't go down easy. So, but yes. So as I was saying, yeah, flipping Giant Dad, the original Giant Dad builds which were being imitated was going to be that. And personally, I'd say that the fast rolling one's probably actually better, because you get so few swings with a ultra great sword when two-handing it. Even though, my build, I think probably the biggest thing you could say that's fake about my build is it can two-hand it, but one-hand it, sorry, but yeah. So yeah. So yes, but anyways, to solve that problem with Frog and to keep him happy, I'm now calling him Giant Dad Flippy McFlip. So there you go, Frog, you can be happy. He's not the legend, he's Giant Dad Flippy McFlip. So yeah, so from what we know is this guy, had infinite health, infinite stamina, and probably hack stats, probably had hack stats as well, considering he's fast rolling with that gear. I mean, he's got let's see, he's got steel armor, the oh yeah, maybe Knight got involved, that was annoying as well, and I ended up missing those swings there. So yes, he's got the Demon Great Axe. Why he's got a sunlight maggot on his head, I do not know. So yeah, he's got steel armor, wolf ring on, which means he's only got one. Which means if he has the ninja flip ring on, he's not got any strength boosters, which already makes it impossible for him to fast roll. Oh no, he's not got the ninja flip ring on. I'm sorry, never mind. So he's probably got Havel's ring on, with a ridiculous amount of hacked endurance, So, so yeah, unfortunately we weren't able to get this guy, as I said. However, at least we put a thorn in his side for plenty of time, and there's probably two, maybe three people who he could have invaded and killed at a time like this. But ultimately, yeah, I have now, after this, Clown did give me a bleed weapon. I think the only one I can use, which is like a barbed straight sword. So, in the event of that, Giant Dad Flippy McFlip will have some sort of defense against them. And probably the thing that annoys me the most was how he actually ended up killing me. Oh man, this guy. Yeah, that was with the lag stab. So yeah, it would have absolutely amused me to see this guy try and fight anybody with, trying to fight any... Well, yeah. I'd honestly like to see him try and fight anybody with, without hacks. Because, either he's... Yeah. Because even though he was in a 2v1 situation, a lot of the time it was, fighting one of them whilst the other was healing. And, yeah. I've still got to get the, the black flames down. Well, then again, Clown is, you know, somebody who's actually fairly decent at the game and is able to, you know, probably against... Yeah, I think that's probably my main problem, because I do incredibly badly with this giant dad. And I'd say that's probably because of the fact that most of the people I play against actually, you know what they're doing when fighting, and they're not going to get hit easily by a North Greatsword. But yeah, as I was saying earlier, and I don't think I actually finished, yeah. And yet I still haven't managed to survive all of that, so... but yeah. So... what was I saying? I cannot remember what I was saying. Ah yes, I'd say that the only Afro's one's build is probably better because it has more HP, and, you know, whilst it's not able to flip, you know, also, so let's see, what is there? So there's the fact that it's at level 99, soul level 99, so most of the people it's fighting is, you know, nearer the 100 range, so there's probably going to be more, you know, people, you know, because obviously you get a few defensive bonuses from leveling up, naturally. Yeah, after this we ended up moving locations to the... oh yeah, so first of all, here's... this is the only PvE fight in the entire thing, and essentially this person came into the chat and was asking for assistance with I believe his character was level 50 something, in fighting the... Yeah, so he needed this in fighting the 4 kings. So I just offered him some assistance, cut out the rest of it, so it's just the kings that we're fighting. Fun fact, if you're fighting co-op, and somebody gets grabbed by them, keep attacking them, because whilst the king doesn't take damage, health bar does. So yeah, this is a guerrilla warfare build, which ended up never being used. Yes, as I was saying with Granddad, I'd say only after respect because it's got more health. With the Fatbring, it's got more endurance, so it's able to get in an extra swing or two. It's also fighting against people who are less, you know... and then there's also the fact that he did it random and on PC with people who probably were just getting into the game as well, so it was a bit more effective then. But either way, I've got the build, just, you know, for those few novelty moments. Although that all being said, it's currently not actually even in use. So, yes, for some reason this guy summoned Beatrice, even though Beatrice was probably not needed, and yet somehow we managed to keep Beatrice alive during the entire thing. Originally I was going to use Blight, Blight of Blighttown to help him, but he was slightly over the level. He was like 2 levels over. So instead I just went and used my Guerrilla Warfare character, who was never used as starter class Guerrilla Warfare because everyone sort of disappeared. Yeah. So it was at this point I finally realised that I had to lower the water. So I lowered the water and fought Clown for a bit here. For the most part, he completely destroyed me. Mainly because I was trying to trade blows with the Great Club, and also because... yeah. It's... yeah. That's one of the things I find with Bladelust is he's... yeah. Bladelust is definitely an interesting character to play, because sometimes I do really well with him, other times I get completely destroyed by him. Most of the time due to rolls, because I know the fat time roll times, and I know the fast roll times, and I've got I've got guesses at when the mid-roll times are, but my timings with mid-rolls are worse than with fat rolls and, are worse than with fat rolls and fast rolls. Mainly because I believe I try rolling sooner than I would with a fast roll. Yeah, I was trying to see if I had moss on my bar, but yeah, I normally roll sooner than with fast rolls because the recovery times are less, and I want to be able to recover for a counter-attack before their attack's actually done, and that normally ends up resulting in me getting hit instead. Such a shame on this, that would have been a cool finish. However, I think this is the one match against Clown I won here, and then I went AFK to talk to him in the Dark Souls chat, during which the poison killed me. I did get a finish with that. So yes, so here I was, I stopped here and just started talking to him on the chat, and then I just heard me dying and thought, oh, was I invaded? And then I remembered I was poisoned. So, yeah, so that was funny to say the least. Yeah, there was a bit of lag with that. I personally quite enjoy fighting in the new Londo ruins. It's, quite an interesting scenery, and I'd say that the one major problem with it is that, that step there. It's, not only with me, but with a bunch of other people as well. You just end up getting stuck on that step, and, it stops you from doing whatever you're doing. But apart from that, it's quite a fun place to fight. So yeah, so now I, take continual pain from Clown. This time I actually had moss available to me, so that helped a bit, except for the fact that it didn't help me at all anyway. Oh, and that's actually the last fight, so next time, I'll see you.